We are the report of the Chapter 6, which is the Management Information, what management conversations are all about. Chapter 6, Management Information, what management conversations are all about. When a manager and an agent communicate, they ultimately talk about a device that is being managed. Actually, this is not entirely correct. As you know by now, they could, for example, also talk about the service. For the purposes of the discussion here, however, we assume that the managed entity that is being represented by the agent is indeed a device. For example, the manager might ask the agent how many packets have been sent over one of the device's interfaces, or the agent might send an alarm telling the manager that it has just detected a line error on one of the device's ports. Everything that managers need to know about the entity that is being managed constitutes management information. Management information, therefore, is ultimately what conversations between managers and agents are all about. This chapter picks up on and explores in greater detail the information viewpoint that was introduced in Chapter 4. Here are the things that you will learn. To understand what a management information base and what is contained in it. To distinguish between management information, the specification of management information, and the specification languages for management information that constitutes meta-models. Understand how an SNNP MIB module is defined. And to understand how design as a software engineering discipline can be applied to the modeling of Now, let's talk about establishing a common terminology between manager and agent. A Table is a Table is written by Peter Bichsel, a famous Swiss writer. It is a story about an old man who was so curious why things are called the way we call them. He wondered what would happen if one alters it, and so he did. He started to call things differently. He referred to a table as a carpet, a bed as a picture, a chair as a clock, a wardrobe as a newspaper, a photo album as a mirror, and etc. Soon after, he has coined new terms for every word he knew in his life. The result was sad. Very sad that in the end, the old man could not understand anyone and anymore. Neither could he understand himself. As a result, he could not communicate with anyone anymore. The effect of language had killed him. The story is very touching in itself. A central aspect of management information is that it establishes a common and mutually understood way by which agents and managers can refer to various aspects of managed device. Without this mutual understanding, serious problems would arise that would render a network essentially. For example, think about what might happen if a manager were to monitor a counter that counts the volume of data traffic, thinking that it refers to the number of octets that are sent into the router over a port, and the agent returns instead the number of octets that are received from the router over the port. If the router in question were an access router over which residential customers are connected, the manager that might determine that the traffic pattern was suspicious because an unusual amount of traffic was sent from the customer to this port, which might be indicative of an ongoing attack. As a consequence, the manager might decide to switch off the port to cut off the suspected malicious customer. However, in reality, the customer might have simply been downloading a substantial amount of data and receiving it over that port, which is a common and perfectly permissible activity. Understandably, the customer would not be pleased if she were cut off. There are some problems of a similar nature would arise if a manager wanted to retrieve the current account of text received over what he thinks of as port, the port that is on the far left when standing in front of the device, and the agent were to return instead the number of octets that were received over what the manager thinks of a port 8, the one on the far right of the device. The manager, confusing those ports, would consequently also confuse what and who was connected on the other side of those ports. Again, serious problems would arise because subsequent management decisions would be based on the wrong facts. The pieces of management information that manager and agent refer to ultimately constitute the managed object or the MOs that are part of the device management information base, which is the MIB. These concepts are of central importance in network management and are explained in the following section. The Management Information Base or the MIBs. A device's management information is maintained by the management agent in the Managed Device Management Information Base or MIB. Rhymes with read. In the following section, we will take a look at what MIBs contain many individual pieces of management information about the managed entity. Information about physical aspects such as ports and line cards, as well as about logical aspects such as protocol machines, software, and features of individual communication services. The pieces of management information in a MIB are commonly referred as to managed objects. Abstractions of individual aspects of the managed device that are not decomposed further for management purposes but are treated as one informational entity. In general, those aspects correspond to the nouns that are the subject of management conversations between managers and agents. Here are some examples. Retrieve statistical information about a port, which is used to connect a piece of equipment to a network. To create an access control rule, which means to specify for a firewall which packets to filter, and to configure connection endpoint on an ATM connection. Each of the nouns on italics could be represented by it. In the figure shown, it shows a typical depiction of a MIB, a conceptual database that is associated with a management agent and that contains a number of MOs. MOs and NIBs are often shown arranged in conceptual tree structures. This is done because, in many cases, MOs have hierarchical containment relationship with each other. For example, an MO that represents an equipment chassis may contain other MOs that represents line cards, or an MO that represents a communications interface may contain other MOs that represent sub-interfaces of the same interface. Similarly, in many cases, the names by which MOs are referred to are hierarchical in nature, not unlike the way in which postal addresses in the real world are hierarchical. A person's name at the number of street of a city and a zip code of a state. In the case of MIB, MOs might have names such as the number of particular type of interface on a certain port on a certain line card. As before, words printed in italics denote the different levels on the hierarchy. Details on how MOs are named depend on the metaschema. That is the specification language that is used to model a management information, a concept which is described later in this chapter, and on the management protocol that is used to access the management information. Management protocols are discussed in detail in Chapter 8, Common Management Protocols, Languages of Management. MIB and MOs, Managed Entity and Real Resources. In the figure shown, it should also be mentioned that, in addition to information about the real resources themselves, a MIB can contain information about how those resources relate, modeled as relationships between MOs. As mentioned earlier, the most common case is that of hierarchical relationships. For example, a chassis contains a card contains a port, and a port contains a connection endpoint. Categories of management information. The types of management information maintained in a MIB can be manifold. Management applications treat different categories differently and use them for different purposes. First one is the state information. This is information about the current state of physical and logical resources, along with any operational data. It includes information about whether the device is currently functioning properly, including what current alarm conditions there are and what the highest alarm severity is, or how long the system has been up and running since it was last rebooted. It also includes information about the current performance of the device and what it is currently doing, including packet and connection counts for various protocols, current CPU load, and utilization of bandwidth and memory. Second example is the physical configuration information. This is information about how the managed device is physically configured. This includes information such as the device type, physical configuration in terms of cards and available ports, serial numbers, and MAC addresses. Next example is the logical configuration information. This concerns various parameter settings and configured logical resources on the device, such as IP addresses, telephone numbers, or logical interfaces. Next is the historical information. This includes historical snapshots of performance-related state information such as the packet counts for each 15-minute interval over the past 24 hours, including logs of various types of events such as the firewall log of recent remote connection attempts. The difference between a MIB and a database. If a MIB is conceptual data store, why not treat it the same way as a database? Access through a database query language such as Structured Query Language or the SQL. Using a database management system, DBMS. Why bother with MIBs and management protocols? The answer to this question are manifold. They include the following. Footprint. Regular DBMS mechanisms are heavier weight and require more processing resources than management interfaces. Keep in mind that many network devices have limited general-purpose processing capabilities. For a device, being managed constitutes overhead. Its main function, after all, is something else such as routing packets. Next is the specific management requirements. All the relations that are used in typical DBMS to represent data are general purpose in nature and flexible. They are not well suited to capturing some of the constraints that are specific and common to management. For example, a lot of management information is hierarchical in nature. A device contains cards, which contain ports, which contain Next is the real effects. A MIB is not a passive database, but a view on an active real-world system. Information in the MIB is accessed through and affected by not only management operations, but many other means as well control protocols. The very functioning of the device, users logging on and reconfiguring the device through a command line interface and so on. Therefore, the MIB cannot truly be managed through a DBMS. Characteristics of the contained data. A database typically contains large volumes of data that is largely of the same structure. That is, it contains few tables, with many entries each. A MIB, on the other hand, is much more heterogeneous regarding the type of information that it contains. It contains many different types of information, with relatively few instances of each. The relationship between MIBs and management protocols. Different views of the same managed entity. Some management protocols and interfaces have no specific notion of a MIB at all. That is, of a conceptual data store being accessed by a manager. They do not offer operations that specifically refer to a MIB. For example, there are no GET requests that refer to MOs. Instead, management information is simply carried in the form of parameters of management operations. Case in point, command line interface of the CLI commands that an administrator can enter at the console of a device. CLI is introduced in Chapter 8. However, to illustrate the point, here is a little preview of what CLI commands look like. Let us assume that a network administrator wants to configure a border gateway protocol, neighbor on a router. The network administrator may type something like the following on the console. The command prompt is indicated in italics and is not typed by the network administrator. Notice that the command prompt changes as a consequence of the command that was previously typed. The first command causes the device to enter a special mode in which it can be configured. The second command tells the device that a specific routing process is to be configured, namely the BGP process with the label 500. The third command sets up the BGP process so that it recognizes a system with the IP address 192.168.1.1 as a BGP neighbor that belongs to an autonomous system. With the label 400, the fourth command returns to the original mode. Do not be concerned with the purpose and effects of these commands. The point is that in those commands, there are no generic configuration or set operations that explicitly refer to MOs in a MIB. However, it should be clear that even in the case, command parameters constitute an abstraction of the underlying device. They clearly refer to management information. For example, the BGP process labeled 500 constitutes, in effect, an MO in the device's MIB. The fact it is referred to in the form of command parameters constitutes a particular view of the managed device that is specific to CLI. Although a MIB is not explicitly referred to in CLI, a MIB is implicitly still the target of the commands. My name is Ruel Canlapan, the reporter of this video. Thank you.